Okay, so today I want to talk about why the compound lifts are superior to isolation movements. And there's actually a very simple reason for that. So most people already know that compound lifts are superior, but lots of the times they don't know why. And the most common answers they get is something like, they use multiple muscle groups or you can use more weight. But the answer is actually really simple. So it's because it's a lot easier to progress on them. And it's actually that simple. So, so let's talk purely from hypertrophy perspective. So if they could provide equal amount of hypertrophy, um, the compound V will still be better for many other things, such as carryover to overall strength, athletic performance. They actually would be better. They're more time efficient because, for example, let's say bench press. On the bench press, you use pecs, triceps, and front delts. To replicate it from isolation movements, you would need to do, chest flies, tricep extensions, and front delts. So, in from a time perspective, the compound lift will still be superior. But let's talk about purely from a hypertrophy perspective. So, even for hypertrophy, as I said, because it's a lot easier to progress on them, and it's also easier to maintain form on them um, when you're trying to progress. Because on isolation movements, when it gets harder, you will. It's very easy to lose your form. It's very easy to start cheating on isolation movements, even when you don't want to, because for your body, it's natural to use more muscles at the same time. So while there is no such thing as best lifts, usually the better lifts are the ones that allow for long-term sustainable progression. So if you're looking, which lift is better for whatever body part or whatever, it's usually the one that allows for long-term sustainable progression and the one where it's generally easier to progress while maintaining your form. So the thing is that any exercise, if you progress on any exercise and you maintain your form, whatever muscles are used in an exercise, they are eventually going to grow. The problem is how easy it is to progress on some exercises. So let's say things like bicep curls, right? Let's say you can strict curl 80 pounds for 10 reps, right? And you eventually take your strict curl for 10, your 80 pound for 10 reps strict curl to 120 pounds for 10 reps. Your biceps is going to grow. The problem is how hard it is to add 40 pounds to your bicep curls or any kind of poundage. So generally for compound lifts, it's a lot easier to get stronger by 5-10% than on isolation movements. And I'm going to use them percentages because, for example, 10 pounds on biceps curls is a lot more percentage wise than 10 pounds on deadlifts. Even on bench press, like 10 pounds on bench press is more percentage wise than 10 pounds on deadlift. So this is why I'm going to use percentages. So, but even when it comes to that, it's a lot easier to add 5% to your compound lifts than to your isolation movements. And usually when you get stronger on your compound lifts, you are also going to get stronger on isolation movements. Because if your muscle is going to get stronger, it will carry over to any exercise that uses the same muscles. So for example, if you add 40 pounds to your bench press, your chest flies and the tricep extensions, you are going to get stronger on them because your chest and triceps have gotten stronger from bench press. Whereas if you did only chest flies or tricep extensions, it will take forever to add this amount of poundage. Even from percentage perspective, it takes forever to get stronger by 5% on isolation movements. So usually the better exercise is the one that allows for long-term sustainable progression, which is why from hypertrophy perspective, because there are other many benefits that compound lifts have over isolation movements. But even from purely hypertrophy perspective, they allow for much easier and more sustainable progression, which is why they are superior. So even if you're looking for exercise, like which exercise is better, there are things like EMG studies and stuff, but sometimes usually the better exercise is the one that is easier to progress. So for example, if we have something like back squat versus front squat, and while I love front squats and I use them myself as I use them more as an assistant lift, I prioritize back squats because it's simply easier to progress on them. And front squats are still a great lift, but I find it generally much harder to progress on front squats than back squats, and they do both carry over to each other. So if you get stronger on your back squat, you also get stronger on your front squat and vice versa. But I find that it's a lot easier to progress on back squat than front squat, which is why I suggest most people to prioritize back squat. So I do back squats twice a week and front squat once a week, and I do overall more volume on back squats. But you get the idea. So if you're looking for like which exercise is better, it's usually the one that is easier to progress, and it's actually simple as that. So